friends. Hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. I'm doing, let's check in. Before we even start the video, yes, that white thing is on my shirt the entire video, and I'm so sorry. It makes me so mad. Yes, it's on my shirt the whole video. I'm so sorry. It's going to be my spring break soon. I'm very excited about that. And I'm doing this video and I'm excited about this. So here's a little poofy today. I'm just like, but I have to film this, so I'm really excited to film this video. This is actually something I want to do on my channel more. I like doing anti-hauls. I love them. I think it's really fun to absolutely trash brands that put out crappy releases, and I'm still going to be doing those, but I thought it'd be fun every couple of weeks to just do kind of a I call it Yass or pass. I did one of these a while ago and I actually feel like you guys really liked it, so I want to do it more. I know a lot of people do these types of videos now, the will I buy it type of things. I don't really want to come at from that because I'm on a low buy this year, so there's not a lot of things I'm actually going to be buying. More of the you know those Hotline, how he does fashion reviews and shows pictures of fashion and kind of gives his opinion. That's kind of what I want to do. I don't know if I'm going to be buying a lot of this stuff because I'm really trying to cut back on my spending this year. I'm going to be doing low buy updates throughout the year, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to just go through and talk about some new makeup releases. I thought maybe every other week or so, because so many makeup releases come out, we could just go through trend mood together and just kind of talk about some new stuff that's happening, what's popping in the makeup industry. And I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this stuff as well. I love hearing your opinions. And also, I do feel like I get asked a lot what my opinion is on a certain product. You guys will message me or DM me or comment and be what do you think about this? And I'm always oh. So I think it's cool to just put in a video so you guys know that I'm going to talk about things. And if there's anything you're wondering about, let me know and I'll put it in the video and I'll tell you what I think. So the first thing I want to talk about is the new Tarte Cosmetics palette. This is the Rainbow of the Sea High Tides and Good Vibes palette. I actually like this. I actually think those duochrome shades in the middle remind me, I saw them swatched and I was wow, that looks like their chrome paint pot, their chrome pots. That's what that looks like to me, that formula, but in a shadow form. So I'm intrigued by this. However, I don't think I would buy this even if I wasn't on a low buy, because I am so sick of them putting random blue shades in their palette. If they had just made this a neutral palette, I actually wouldn't have been mad at this, because those shimmers transforming shades are so interesting that I wouldn't mind just having the neutrals in there. I'm not going to use those blues with the rest of that color. That little threesome of blues in the corner, you can only really use those together. You can't really mix, I guess you could mix a mustard yellow and a blue, but most people won't because it's not really a standard look. That's kind of something a really avant-garde person who's really creative would do. An average person would have, I feel for me, this would have been such a good everyday palette for me, everyday school palette, had they just kept those really intense shimmers, replaced that blue shimmer with more of a light pinky shimmer, and then took those three blues out and kept it neutral. I know normally I'm kind of oh, neutrals are boring, but I think when you have something that has a really unique and cool formula, like those shimmers down the middle, I don't mind if a palette's a little bit boring if it has transforming shimmers like that. My Pat McGrath Mothership 5, the mattes are incredibly neutral, but it has these beautiful transformative shades that can really make a palette amazing. I do also think the packaging on this is it's cute. It's very Tarte. I'm a little over the Rainforest of the Sea situation. That's been years and years and years of this whole collection now. I kind of wish they would do something different that's not so beachy or whatever, but I get that that's kind of their vibe now. So yeah, this is something I maybe would have bought in a different time. 2 years ago, I would have been all over this, but now I'm kind of just I almost wish this had been simpler with just the crazy duochrome shades, because I think I would have been way more about it. Okay, next, I do want to talk about ColourPop's spring release, 29th spring release, but a spring release nonetheless. I think it's not something I think I need, but I like this palette. I love pinky tones. Those shimmers look beautiful. I think the packaging is some of the coolest packaging I've seen on ColourPop so far. The woman's face blurred out with the flowers. I think that's a little bit more reminiscent of like the 20s, kind of edgy. Like I enjoy this palette. Actually, it's very pleasant to look at. It's not something I need, but I think if you love pinks and you don't have a lot of pink palettes and you want something affordable that's going to have a good formula, because ColourPop's formula is fantastic, I think this is great. I actually just depotted all of my ColourPan palettes that are like this and put them into one gigantic palette, and that's what I used in my eyes today. That's why I'm talking about it, because I love it a lot, but that palette's now full, so I don't really need any more ColourPop shadows. I would like to use the ones I have because they've gone really neglected. But this is, I think this is beautiful. I actually can't knock them for this, and I think the whole collection as a whole, they have the Jelly Much, the new shadows to like go inside with it. The lipsticks look really solid. I think overall this is like a decent, good collection from ColourPop. Like I actually really like this. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm actually kind of sad that I'm not gonna get. As part of my low buy, I'm allowing myself to buy 6 new eyeshadow palettes this year. That's kind of the deal I've worked out with myself. And Colored Rain was coming out with this Safari collection, and before I saw it, I was like, oh, I'ma want that, because the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette is my favorite palette of all time, like actually my favorite palette. It's beautiful and amazing, and I'm in love with it. So I love that palette, so I was really excited, and I was like, this Safari sounds really cool, I'm about it. It's very lackluster to me. It really is. I know people were saying that like maybe they were copying Juvia's Place or something like that with the Juvia's Place palette. Juvia's Place is another indie brand that also has a really, really solid formula, so I don't know anything about that, and I don't know if they were copying or not. It's so hard to say nowadays because the makeup market is just so incredibly oversaturated that of course you're going to have palettes with very similar color stories. And I believe that new Juvia's Place palette they're saying was copied from was actually made it came out like pretty recently. So if this were to be copied, they would have had to put it in production very quickly. And I know that they've been working on this for a really long time just based on their Instagram. I don't know, it's lackluster. I think the color combination is kind of weird. It's not something that calls to me. Again, I like more warm tones, so maybe that's why, but even that fiery red up top and that kind of champagne-y color in the bottom left doesn't super call to me. I don't really know what I would do with those matte shades to make a really cohesive look. I think I'm just bummed because I wanted it to be the same amount of shades as the Queen of Hearts palette because I just love that palette, and I think the format and the concept, I think I'm just bummed that it's so small, and I'm bummed that it's a color story that doesn't super excite me. They're very muted tones, nothing super crazy, like just a little bit lackluster after the Queen of Hearts had so much hype. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to bash Colored Rain because I really do love them as a brand. This was just not something that made me excited. It swatches beautifully though. It seems like if this color story calls to you, the formula is there. Like Colored Rain's formula is one of my favorite formulas. So if you like these colors, I would go for it because the formula is freaking fantastic. These colors just don't personally call to me. Even if I wasn't on the low buy, I don't think I would pick that up. All right, everybody was asking me what I thought about this. Oh, this is for St. Patrick's Day. ColourPop kind of came out with this all green palette, this surprise green palette. I actually kind of dig it. If I wasn't on the 6 palette rule this year, I probably would have picked this up actually. I don't love green eyeshadow. Those of you that know, follow my channel, I used to really hate it. And then I've started kind of playing around with it and I've gotten a little bit more into it, and I can get down with like a grungy green, and it seems like that's what these colors are. It's perfect for like a grungy green smoky eye, so I'm actually really about this. However, I could dupe these colors within my own collection. The ColourPop Good Sport palette has that same kind of goldy yellow, like a greenish gold yellow. The Jaclyn Hill Dark Magic palette actually has a lot of these shades, which is a similar price point but not as good of a formula as ColourPop is, I'm assuming. And then some of these other ones, there aren't, besides that mint green in the top left, there isn't really a ton of new shades for me in this one, so that's ultimately another reason why I was like, man, I like this, but I could just put this together, like I could dupe this, you know what I mean? I do think it's a cool idea though, and I'm glad they finally gave people a freaking green palette, because everybody, ever since the Tarte Icy Betch thing, everybody's been wanting a green palette, and they kind of played off on that too. Like they were like, oh, you guys wanted a green palette? We didn't know. They're smart to do that. I think a lot of companies are going to start, especially like ColourPop, like I think they're very smart in the sense that they're giving people what they want. Like they know they're probably not going to sell as many of these like a neutral palette, but they make enough releases and they make enough stuff that it's like, well, we can afford to have one launch be a little bit less and make people really happy and get people excited about something that's super, super, super different. I know a lot of people bought that, so I'm interested to hear reviews, but I'm going to pass on this, but I do think it's cool. Like I'm about this. Okay, this is something that I actually might buy, and that's big for me to say because I'm only allowing myself 5 highlighters this year as part of my low buy. God, I just want to try this formula. Becca is coming out with a new highlighter. It's called the Pearl Glow, and it's a new packaging, like updated packaging. And not only that, it has this new like thing, like embossing on it, and it seems like it's a new formula. If Becca comes out with a new formula, I have to try it. The Becca highlighter formula is one of my favorites, so I would be fascinated to see. This looks like it might be a little bit more of a gilded glow, not as powdery. It looks like it might be a little bit stiffer, but very pigmented. I'm excited about this. I might go, this is one I'm gonna go in and swatch and kind of investigate, because I don't wanna, it's expensive. I think it's not gonna be here till May, but if it's anything like other highlighters, which are like $38, this is probably gonna be pretty expensive. So it's something I would have to really, really think about, but I do think this is beautiful, and I'm so interested that they're making new formulas. Like, I think that's so cool. Becca's kind of a brand for me that's like, I don't want to say they're dying, because they're doing really well, I'm sure, but like they had Champagne Pop and they've had some kind of cool stuff come out, but they haven't had that like hit, like the home run since Champagne Pop. And their highlighter formula is amazing, but I can only have so many of those, you know? So I think to branch out and do a new highlighter collection is a really cool idea for them, and I'm excited to see like where that goes, if it's good, if I like it, stuff like that. Another thing that I'm really excited about that I actually, again, think I might buy, and it's only because I've been loving this brand lately, Jouer is coming out with new bronzers, and I'm really, really excited about this. They look cool. Like, the packaging looks beautiful. The embossing on them looks beautiful. I love the Jouer blush formula, and if it's anything like the Jouer blush formula as far as being really pigmented, easy to blend, I think that these would be fantastic. The only reason I don't love Jouer is because there's not really a place you can go in to buy them like in person. I can't go in and swatch and find a really good color for a bronzer. I can guess based on the shades. It could probably be a medium or a tan, but unfortunately, like, I can't go in and swatch them. I can't really see how good they are, and then to return them is kind of a hassle. I know you can buy them at Sephora now, but it's still a little bit of a hassle to return stuff there. So that's the only thing that's kind of hesitant to me, is I don't really want to buy something like a face product online. I probably will end up doing it anyway, because I do really think this is cool. I'm excited to see this brand sort of expanding. Jouer is really cool for me because they don't do a lot of eyeshadow palettes. Like, they definitely have some, but they don't oversaturate the market with eyeshadow palettes. I feel like they focus on things like their blushes, their bronzers, their highlights, their lipsticks, like stuff like that, which makes them a little bit more unique to me. So when they come out with face products, I'm genuinely excited, because I've heard really good things, and I have their face products and I love them. So I'm excited about this, and I love their packaging. Their whole aesthetic is very me, like very me. Like, I very much love the very girly, elegant, pretty, like rose goldy. I love all of that stuff. So that's a very appealing thing for me as well. Something I'm not the most excited about, and I don't know if I'm in the minority here, I don't really like the Glam Light stuff. Like, Glam Light is the one that came out with the pizza palette, and now they're coming out with the burger palette, and it seems like the palette is actually it's like shaped like a burger, and it's actually supposed to be on a slice of cheese. That's like where the shadows are. I look at this and I see a nightmare to store. I look at this and I see colors that I'm probably are a little bit mishmash and hodgepodge, kind of like the pizza palette was. Like, I get the idea, and I think it's cool, and I think for somebody who's a makeup collector, this is a really cool piece, because it's something crazy and cool and different. And people who collect palettes, this would be great for them. But I think for someone like me, like, I do collect palettes, but I don't at the same time. I wouldn't buy something just for packaging and concept. And I think the packaging and concept on this is kind of dumb. I don't really like food palettes. I don't know. And another brand is doing this now too. They actually have a milkshake palette. And I'm like, man, what brand is it? Bombshell Cosmetics is coming out with one. It's a cookie, a Chips Ahoy cookie, a burger. They're coming out with a burger palette too. But they also have this milkshake palette that I'm like, from the colors I can see from the leak, these colors look beautiful, but I don't want to have to store a milkshake shaped palette in my, I already can't fit the like random long rectangular palettes I have. I don't want to have to fit a milkshake one in here. So I'm bummed, because I actually think the colors on this milkshake one look beautiful. And I don't mind. I don't hate the concept. I think it's like a burger. Like, burgers are not really attractive food. Am I crazy? I feel like food porn Reddit is gonna be like, what do you mean? But like, I don't think burgers are particularly attractive, especially just like a normal cheeseburger. It's not even like a gourmet cheeseburger. It's like a normal cheeseburger. I don't feel like that's particularly exciting. And I feel like with the, at least with the like milkshake, it's like cute and like cutesy. Yeah, I'm not really about these food palettes though. The cookie one is kind of interesting too, but like, I'm not really about it. Oh my god, Glamlight's also doing a taco palette. Again, not the most attractive food to me. Maybe I just don't find food attractive, but like that Glamlight palette, it's not my favorite. Okay, so Dose of Colors is coming out with a Minnie Mouse collection, and this is a hard pass for me. I had these like Disney palettes that I bought from Target a few months ago, and I was gonna do like a giveaway or like a review of them, and then I never did it, and then they never got used, and then I decluttered them, and then actually one of my friend's coworkers had a huge house fire and they needed unused makeup to donate, and I was able to donate a bunch of stuff, including those palettes, and she sent me a very special note. It was very kind. It was just like thanking me, and she really loved that, and I was like, well, that's really sweet. I'm glad those palettes went to somebody who liked them. However, I think that this palette is freaking stupid. First of all, the colors, I applaud them for at least doing like Minnie Mouse colors. Like there's like a red and orange, a black, you have the red and black for the bow, a white. Like I applaud them for that, but this is just so gimmicky to me. Like I feel like Kimberly Clark when I'm like, gimmick, like it's just a gimmick. Like this is for the people who absolutely live and love and breathe for Disney, and that's fine. I'm not one of those people. I do not freak out over Disney. Disney is just kind of, I love going to Disney World, like in Florida, like I love that, but I don't like freak out over Disney characters. Like I don't personally relate to any Disney characters, and I feel like people who love the cutesy aesthetic of Minnie are going to want to buy this and love this, and I think that's great for them. And it does seem like this would probably be a good palette for somebody who's like a working woman or man on the go, who just kind of wants a simple everyday look they can pull together in this cute little palette and, you know, have cute little packaging, and you love Minnie and it's gonna make you happy. But for me, this just doesn't excite me. I actually think it's stupid. I wish Disney would stop collabing with makeup companies. Honestly, I really wish they would, because I'm just so over seeing Disney collaborations with like all these different makeup companies. It's very transparent to me that they're trying to like get their name out there even more than they already are, and it's just like, stay out of my palettes. Like, I don't want you here. Oh my god, speaking of that, actually, I wasn't gonna talk about this yet. Just going off of that Disney rant, I guess MAC and Disney are collabing for the new Aladdin movie, which at least is like timely because the new Aladdin movie's coming out. Actually looks really good after watching the trailer. I was skeptical on the first trailer, the second trailer sold me. I actually like this a lot more than the Minnie Mouse one. I think the eyeshadow palette packaging is really cool and unique. I know people absolutely just love to collect these MAC limited edition palettes, and I think that's really cool. I probably wouldn't pick this up because the colors of the actual palette themselves aren't super interesting, and I also just don't need another bronzer, and that's pretty much all it is, just like a bright pink lipstick. I don't really need any of those things, so I won't be picking this up, but I actually commend them because I think the packaging is cool. Like, that's pretty neat packaging. It's got like, it's very well done. I actually like this collection. And the palette does fit along with like Jasmine, which is kind of fun. There were two more I wanted to talk about. So the first one is the new Natasha Denona Neutral palette. I'm gonna be totally honest here. When I saw this on my timeline, I basically thought that this was the Safari palette, which is the palette she recently came out with like not that long ago. I think it was her last release was the Safari palette, which got great reviews. Like, people seem to really love it. I wasn't gonna buy it because I don't, Natasha Denona is just so expensive. However, this palette is beautiful. Like, I do think this would be great again for somebody who needs a neutral palette like this. It's basically though the Safari palette with shimmers, so I don't really know why anybody would be particularly excited, because it's not only something we've seen before, it's something we've seen from literally the exact same brand. Like, this isn't even like, oh, we've seen this 100 times, it's a neutral palette. It's like, no, Natasha Denona literally just did this. Like, if you own the Safari palette and you also own some neutral shimmer shades from a different palette, you don't need this palette. I'm actually really surprised she did something so similar, because I feel like Natasha Denona, like, people just love collecting her palettes. That's pretty much her main thing, a main demographic, I think, is people who are collectors of her shadows. And this one is, it's just so similar. It's not even like, oh, it's boring. It is boring, but it's boring because it's already been done by literally her. Okay, the final thing I want to talk about, and I know I'm gonna get hate for this, like I know I am, but I have to talk about Nikita Dragun's new brand, Dragun Beauty. Their first release was a universal color corrector and a face powder. And honestly, I commend her for not coming out with a palette, like an eyeshadow palette, because every beauty guru does that, and honestly, it's smart to do something that's different. However, I understand that the focus of the brand is for people who are transgender, who need makeup for them. And I actually really commend that. I think that's something that's really close to her heart. I think that's fantastic. I love the concept of that. But I kind of wish if she was going to come out with a color corrector, it would have been like a color correcting palette or like a color correcting line. So it was actually universal and inclusive, because this feels like something only certain people with certain issues would want to use. I know people use that color to cover their beard a lot, but again, I think having something that was a little bit more versatile for the transgender community would have been really cool if she was going to go the color correcting route. I just kind of wish there was a little bit more. And also this powder is just, I saw this on Twitter and I was like, that's so true. It literally looks like Claire's makeup. Like, the powder is not interesting or exciting to me. And the fact that you have to pay like $100, how much is it for the egg? So for the really expensive egg, it's in both of the products, it's like $105, which is a lot for an egg that you could just bedazzle at your own home. Again, I don't think this is like the worst thing to ever happen, but I also just don't think every beauty guru needs a brand. I wish that if she were gonna come out with a brand that was for people who are trans and, you know, helping them out, like, I wish it had been more, because it just could have been, you know what I mean? And I'm not knocking the small, like, I'm not knocking what she did, because that's still a great thing to do. It's a touchy subject, because I feel like if you say you don't like it, people accuse you of being transphobic. And it's not that I'm transphobic. I wish it was more inclusive. I wish there was more to it than just the one thing. And I hope that with this brand, she expands on that idea and expands on making it really inclusive for people who are trans, because that's a community that I think is really often forgot about in the makeup community, who have specific needs that other people who wear makeup don't have. So yeah, overall, I just kind of wanted more from this. I don't think it's that impressive. And I hope that in the future, she will expand and do more with this concept, because I don't think the concept is a bad idea, but I do think the execution was bad. I think the egg is a stupid idea. I get that she's like a dragon, whatever. And I think the face powder is ugly. I like the color corrector. Wish it was kind of a bigger thing. Yeah, that's pretty much that on that. That's pretty much all the thoughts I had on new makeup releases for now. If you guys want me to do this as kind of like a series and do it like every couple of weeks and just sit down and tell you what I think about products, let me know down below. And yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below. And yeah, I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!